Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi Masechet Nazir. We are up to Perek Bet Mishnah Vav. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'elu Nishmat Neria ben Svetlana Ranbayev, Eliyahu ben Burcha Israel Chana Bad Miriam and Sason ben Raya Menuchatam Began Eden Amen. And Lehavdil ben Chaim Nechaim v'derefua Shelemav Daniel Shalom ben Rosa B'tok Sha'cholei Israel. The Mishnah now discusses what a person is obligated to provide if he vows to shave half a Nazir. Now, if he says, I take upon myself half the offerings of a Nazir, he is obligated to provide a Nazir with only half the cost of the concluding offerings, since that is clearly his intention, as the Gemara explains to us on page 12b in Masechet Nazir. However, the Mishnah's declaration is less clear. Since he did not clearly attach the word half to the offerings, his declaration can be interpreted in different ways, as the Mishnah will explain. The Mishnah begins, if somebody says, I hereby take upon myself to shave half a Nazir, and his friend heard and said, and I hereby take upon myself to shave half a Nazir, the first person must provide the offerings for a complete Nazir, and this one must provide the offerings for a complete Nazir. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. According to Rabbi Meir, the first part of his declaration, when he says, I hereby take upon myself to shave, implies that he will provide a complete set of offerings. The last part of his declaration, half a Nazir, is disregarded. Rabbi Meir views the declaration as consisting of two statements. The first statement, I take upon myself to shave, implies that he will provide a full set of offerings to some Nazir. The second statement, half a Nazir, he sees as a partial attraction meant to reduce his obligation to only half the cost of the offerings. Rabbi Meir holds that when a person makes contradictory statements, the first statement is the main one, and therefore the second statement does not undo the first, and he must provide a full set of offerings. But the sages say, this one shaves half a Nazir, and this one shaves half a Nazir, meaning each pays for half of a Nazir's offerings. According to the sages, it is clear that his intention is to provide only half the cost of the offerings. Now, the sages view the declaration as a single unit, with the second part explaining the first. So when he says half a Nazir, he clarifies that he intends to provide only half the cost of the offerings. Now, the Mishnah could have taught this dispute in a case of just a single person who made the declaration. Rabbi Meir would require him to provide a full set of offerings, while the sages would require him to provide only half. However, the Mishnah wishes to teach that according to Rabbi Meir, even the second person's declaration obligates him to pay for a full set of offerings. We do not say that the second person, thinking that the first person was obligated to pay for only half a set, clearly intended only to complete that set. Rather, the second person too must supply Nazir with a full set of offerings. And the Rav does tell us, the Halacha follows the opinion of the sages. And that is then in Mishnah Vav. Mishnah Zayin begins, Hareini Nazir l'ksheyeli ben. If someone says, I am hereby a Nazir when a son will be born to me out of gratitude for having a son, v'nolad lo ben, and a son is born to him, Ariza Nazir, he is a Nazir. Now this is obvious, and the commentators explain it serves only as an introduction to the next ruling. Nolad lo bat, if a daughter is born to him, tumtum androgynous, or a tumtum or an androgynous. A tumtum is a person whose private parts are covered by a thick membrane so that it is not known whether he is a male or female, and androgynous is one who has both male and female organs. And on Nazir, the Mishnah says he is not a Nazir because his intention was only for a definite male child. Although the Torah sometimes uses the word ben, which literally means son, to refer to any child, male or female, in common speech it refers only to males. Therefore, his intention was to become a Nazir only if he had a son. Though a tumtum might be a male and an androgynous has some male characteristics, the word ben is used to refer only to a definite male child. If he said, I'm hereby a Nazir when I will see a child born to me. Now the word when I will see appears redundant, since the Mishnah is simply making a distinction between saying when a son is born and saying when a child is born. And indeed in the Gemara's version of the Mishnah, this word is left out. But again, how we read it here, if he said, I'm hereby a Nazir when I will see a child born to me, afilu nolad lo bat, even if a daughter is born to him, tumtum androgynous or tumtum and androgynous, Ariza Nazir, he is a Nazir, since all of these are included in having a child. And that is on Rabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.